Plenty of people will tell you that Xenoblade X's soundtrack is a little bit of an acquired taste, and I'm no exception. It took me a while to fall in love with certain tracks from the game, but I can assure you this song isn't one of them. Our first introduction to Theme X is the moment we step into NLA for the first time. So picture this. You've been driven from your home, just crash landed on a whole different planet, and have a giant countdown looming above all points of the city signaling your people's extinction. Your circumstances on Mira are looking dire, and you can feel this uncertainty creep up from the intro and throughout various points in the song. But you're not powerless. NLA stands as a bastion for humanity, and Theme X conveys the hope NLA brings to you as a player upon your introduction to the metropolis. Even at your lowest points in game, your party members, much like the song, are able to pick themselves back up and finish their main task triumphantly. Theme X is essentially a journey, and one that mirrors your own adventures across Mira quite closely. Like some of the other top-tier tracks in Xenoblade, this one's tragically underused in-game. You'll hear Theme X once more during what's arguably the most emotionally charged moment in the game. The pizza boy's coming to town. Seriously, why this only plays a second time during this scene of all of them? It baffles my mind. Like, I love the Manon, but Thankfully, you can hear remixes of it in songs like Rearrange or the vocal cover The Way. Both are amazing pieces that I'll unabashedly karaoke to while cruising around town. Hiroyuki Sawano, the composer behind dozens of iconic OSTs from the likes of Kill la Kill and Attack on Titan, uses a blend of live orchestra and distorted synth throughout Xenoblade X's soundtrack. In Theme X specifically, powerful percussive beats complement sweeping orchestral rock, and the use of French horn during the chorus, like right now, gets plenty of goosebumps a-going. The climax especially uses these French horn to amazing effect, with the counter melody screaming out over the violins that I just can't get enough of. But then you have the use of synth. It's always present in the background, but really comes to the forefront during the quietest moments throughout the song, like during its intro and then later on during the bridge. You could say Sawano links his bright, triumphant melodies to live instruments and the quieter, somber tones to the artificial ones. There's this constant tug-of-war between the two, creating beautiful parallels to the game's main theme of artificial humans in a race to reclaim their biological bodies. You also can't ignore that classic Sawano drop where he builds layer upon layer of interpretation and crescendos before cutting out, waiting a second, and then blasting the listener with the song's melody in full swing. One of Sawano's greatest strengths lies in this juxtaposition between loud, hectic, and soft, sincere dynamics. Theme X is no exception to this technique, and Sawano uses it to great effect along with those French horns for a climax that never fails to get me pumped. One of the biggest criticisms I see towards Sawano is how samey his music can sound. You can almost pick out a Sawano soundtrack when listening to them blindly, and Xenoblade X's soundtrack is among those familiar tunes. There's a tendency for Sawano's tracks to be one note in flavor. Theme X subverts these issues though by offering a dynamic listening experience that we talked about earlier, and also, while the instrumentation in Theme X is pretty similar to a lot of Sawano's other works, allowing instruments like the French horns or the acoustic guitar time to come into their own lends this unique texture not found anywhere else in the soundtrack. All that combined makes Theme X hands down my favorite song in Xenoblade X's soundtrack, but it goes beyond just the mechanics of the song itself. Because the Xenoblade series as a whole is about unity, about fighting against insurmountable odds with the power of people from all walks of life. There's this struggle between the natural and the artificial, with the question of what makes us human a constant weight on everyone's minds. Despite how dire the situation may seem, we all have the power to rise up and seize our destinies. To me, no other song embodies the spirit of what makes Xenoblade, well, Xenoblade, quite like Theme X does. It truly earns its place as the theme of Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Certainly won't be easy. But for now, the important thing is we're here, on Mira, and we're alive. And we'll live on from now, with faith in our hearts that one day we can once again set out to search for the planet left behind.
Music in video games is something I've always had a huge passion for. If you scroll through the 1,000 songs on my phone, literally all of them are just from video game albums. So, while I'm not super well versed in music theory, I am very well versed in my feelings towards the music in games and why I'm so passionate towards them. So, would you like to see a series made out of this idea? And if so, what sorts of songs would you like to see covered? But anyway, that was gonna be it for the day. Thank you all so much for watching me say words, and as always, I'll see you for whatever the next one may or may not be.